So we're going to look at the strongholds in spiritual warfare, and it's very interesting to me that people are like, yeah, I'm not a warrior. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, because you've been drafted. So anyone who has become a believer is drafted into the winning army, which is really fun, and yet it is a war. And we have to understand that, because if we actually pretend it's not happening, we'll start to wonder what is happening around us, and we'll start being angry when we don't understand that the enemy is shooting at us, not the people around you, right? So that's very important. So we're going to look here, some verses on spiritual warfare. 1 Peter 5, 8 through 9. Be sober and alert, because your adversary, the devil, roams around like a lion, seeking whom he may devour. And it's interesting, I was teaching a class, and this person said, yeah, he roams around like the lion, but he is not the lion. And I thought, that's really cool. I never had thought of that before. It's like you just think of a lion. I've been to Africa, and the lion that's roaming around, and you're just like, oh, there he is, and the king of the jungle, but he's pretending to be a lion. And so part of what we learn so much in warring with wisdom is that the enemy always tries to mimic God, right? So, but he's not God. And I think it's, I don't know if it's C.S. Lewis, maybe who said it first, but he said, it's never a battle of equals between Satan and God. At best, it's a battle between Satan and Michael, or Satan and Gabriel. But remember, there's more of the archangels than there are of Satan's even then, so it's not even a fair fight in those ways as well. So we're going to look at how to war with wisdom, and not to worry that the enemy is roaming around like a lion, because he's not the lion, but he is trying to devour you. And if you actually are thinking, well, there's no war, you will miss what's going on around you. And in the world today, it's pretty obvious that we're in a war. And I think it's heightened so much because of what's going on around us. People are even starting to pay attention to some of my other teachings, like shifting atmospheres. They're like, what's going on in the atmosphere? I'm like, well, fear, number one, polarization, number two, and so just kind of like this antagonizing stuff going on. But, one of the famous verses we all know, we can all quote, Ephesians 6:12, right? So we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So whenever we think of warfare, this is one of the main verses that get quoted. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? But against powers, principalities, authorities, spiritual forces of wickedness, where? In the heavenly realms. And so we're going to look today at where the war happens, okay?